Hey guys, finally got something new so I can do a video. Finally, it's been a while. This looks like a spaceship. It's my new light. It's a Jeff Hanko D10 with the 3D piston. You can see the Trits are milled to be seen in two different directions. You can see the dots, and you can see them on the sides of the piston. And then this view is the coolest. It's still light out, so it's really hard to get them to glow, but you can see what it would look like. Pretty cool. It's a pretty crazy light. I mean, besides just the design, what this piston does, like check out okay, here's the light. Now most lights, it's like low, medium, high. Say 20, 40, 80 lumens. Watch how this one is. Look how it fades. It fades down. That's like 3 lumens. And then it fades up. It's infinitely variable. You can have as many lumens as you want. So right there, you're probably about, I don't know, 25. Go back up. All the way up to about 200, maybe like 160. It's hard to tell. And it's also cool because it runs off a single AA. It's such a common battery. You know, everybody has them laying around the house. They're in every remote. Pretty sweet light though. This is a lanyard loop. I have a clip too, but I'm going to get a sheath for this. I don't want it getting scratched up in my pocket. And this makes sense. This is like the toxic or biohazard symbol. And although the Trits aren't poisonous, they're actually called nuclear lamps. So the symbol fits. This one has 24 Trits. It has 12 in the piston and 12 in the body. Really cool light though. The way the piston is, the threads are so smooth on this. The light has a piston going all the way through the body. You can see this ring right here. This runs all the way through the body, which is different than most lights. Most lights, what you see out here is the actual shell. This has a shell on the inside. And I think that's what helps the light be able to be infinitely variable. I think. I'm not sure about that. Like this whole thing pushes in. Has a cool lockout feature. Like it's off right now. Let me see. I just got it. So, see if I remember. You hold it in. Blinks. Now it's locked out. Push it. Can't come on. Not that it's a big deal, but nobody could turn it on you. Leave it on. It won't go on in your bag or your pocket by accident. What else? If I didn't mention already, it's a custom light, handmade light. It's from Jeff Hanko. A lot of people consider him to be the best. I like him and McGizmo. Pretty awesome lights. They just look cool and titanium. I like how small it is. Like, that's a tiny light. It's thin. Like the McGizmo's kind of beefy, which is cool. The McGizmo's a little brighter, and it has a thicker battery, so of course it's going to be a thicker light. And that makes sense to me. Like I always say that. Things have to make sense to one another for me to like it. And this one's thinner battery, lower brightness. The McGizmo's thicker battery, it's brighter. And the reason is because the thicker battery, being the CR123, can put out the higher lumens for longer. Where you wouldn't want this being as bright as the McGizmo, because it only has a AA, and you'd be burning out your battery in no time. So the way they drive the LEDs, they make it to where it makes sense to your battery. It's like, yeah, you could have this 300 lumens, but it's only going to last you, who knows, 10 minutes. I almost made a mistake when we were talking about how far I wanted the Trits spaced, which they're in there perfectly. When you run your finger, you can't feel anything. They're like inset in there. And then the Norlin, that's what you use for eyeglasses. It's crystal clear. It's perfectly level to where if you had your eyes shut, you'd think you were running your fingers along polished TI. But anyway, the clip comes down to here and covers this one Trit, dead center. And I could have had the Trits spaced a little closer together, which I have enough of them to where they don't really need to be closer together. And I'd be missing one here, but it would have been put in, all these just would have been a little bit closer. But then when you use this lanyard clip, it's not covering that empty space. So here I would have had an empty slot right there. That would have sucked. That was a last minute change. That really would have sucked. I mean, it would have been blank right here. And they would have been spaced differently to where I couldn't have just added one in there, because the gaps would have been all screwed up. And I'm anal. That would have bugged the shit out of me. It would have ruined it. I was actually going to do a video of me going to pick this up. It was at my box down at the office, and I took the golf cart to go get it. And it was really windy today, and I was opening it. This was in a Ziploc bag. It was wrapped really, really good. It was in a Ziploc bag with the clip installed, not this lanyard loop. It was a clip. And I knew I had the lanyard loop included with the package. So I'm looking, going through all this crumbled up paper that I thought was used for padding. And the wind blew, paper was blowing everywhere, going across the field. And I got through all the papers that I had, and there was no lanyard loop. I was like, shit, where the hell's the loop? I guess I didn't get one. And I looked and saw a couple pieces of paper that were blowing across the field almost 50 yards away. And I went over to them, looked at them, nothing. Come back to the cart. Here, when the wind blew, this was in one of those balls, and it had fallen in the grass. On my way back to the cart, I found it in the grass shining, because you can see it's like mirror polish. I saw it shining with the sun. I got lucky. I would have sucked too, because that's, all this shit's custom. It's like it wouldn't, even though it looks small, it wouldn't have been too cheap to replace it. This has the XPG. I have the Haiku XML. A lot of people say, get the XPG, you should have got the XPG, but I love the XML. It's a bigger emitter for the bigger light. But now I got the XPG too, for a smaller battery and a smaller light. Makes sense to me. Alright guys, I just wanted to show you this. Pretty cool light. This is the coolest part by far. Jeff Hanko's 3D piston. Everybody that's in the custom lights knows about this piston. Cool as hell. Alright guys. Alright, thanks for checking it out. Later.